Hello, today we're going to touch on a topic of what drives the most new opportunities for your organization and business. We're going to talk about 5 key processes within the marketing function to help you understand where your new leads can come from, how to target audiences, position their products and services, and then solve customer problems as well as generate new leads for new opportunities. And the first process out of the chute would be target market research. Now, this is a concept that you must perform in order to understand uh, what does your market look like, or your target market look like. I mean, if you're in retail, you're going to be looking at is your market millennials, or is it boomers, or is it everybody? Now, if it's everybody, you may want to reconsider that, because if you do, you can look at the big box department stores, which try to serve everybody with everything. They're not doing too well these days, and that's because they're not focused. They're not driving this specificity needed for their market, to be attracted to their business. So that's something that you need to do. Now, granted, you can spend money on this, or you can just do in-house studies. You can definitely go in and look at your own customer base and determine where are your customers coming from, what industries, what markets, what types of companies, are there common tendencies, trends, etc. This will help you understand exactly who your market is. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of a different twist on this target market research by talking about the second process, which is target customer profile. Now, that's one way to describe it. I also use the term ideal customer profile. Notice the word ideal. Ideal means they best fit your business, and that's the key factor. They best fit your business, and you know what you sell, how you sell it, what price range or value add that you provide. If you're a value added company and you're based on value added pricing, a commodity company is not going to purchase your services very often. That's just because they're commodity. They're not your ideal customer. They will nitpick you to death, and they will constantly be blocking any kind of efforts to add value to what you do. They just want the raw product. So think about it from the standpoint of what is your ideal customer profile. Now, I strongly suggest, and I usually get my clients to create a matrix of listing their best clients, down the center of a page, then having columns that indicate what are the strengths and what do these best accounts bring to the table. I mean, this is just like a quick form. It's no sophisticated research like in the first process, but it really does help you hone down and target the ideal customer. So you look at what traits do they have that you like, and then going to the other side of the column or the other side of the page, you would list what areas do they not bring to the table that you like, as far as what is it that they do that doesn't excite you, so to speak, causes you problems or grief. Well, these things need to be identified, because in some cases your largest customer may be your biggest problem and really not fit. I've actually had that in a couple of occasions where the client base that I had was drifting away from what I offered. They became more of a commodity company versus a company looking for results and value add. They didn't care so much. The bean counters had come in and taken over the operation versus the entrepreneurs for the larger companies and the entrepreneurs for the smaller, mid-sized companies. The corporate types come in who are primarily blockers and protectors versus people who look for new opportunities, and it creates a conflict as to what you offer and how you offer, and some of the occasions the challenges become greater to sell that person versus use that time to go find someone who fits your ideal customer profile. Now, ideal customer profiles are extremely valuable. I know that when I've created mine and I look at it, I know exactly who my best type of clients are. And it's you can recognize them immediately as you talk to other people as to who fits that profile, and you're much more likely to have a very productive and results driven relationship with that particular customer than somebody who is causing you grief every day by demanding more and delivering or accepting less and causing you cost overruns and other things. So let's just talk. I'll just leave it at that. The third area is competitive analysis. This is again where you list your top 5 to 10 competitors. You list whether they're how they price. Are they equal to you? Are they higher priced, lower priced? What's going on? What size are they? The size of the company could determine their strategies, because if you learn things like the Lancaster strategy, you will understand that there's the strategy of the strong, and there's the strategy of the weak, and these two are very valuable to understand, because it helps you create your marketing strategies that actually work and allow you to grow your business versus lead you down a path of low margins and being pushed out of the markets or overwhelmed by a larger competitor. And there are strategies. This is one of the things that I teach to my private clients. You can do the research on it, Lancaster sales and marketing strategy, and get the information. The go-to market strategy is the fourth process. Now, go-to-markets, again, this is also related to the Lancaster sales and marketing strategies. How do you go to market? What's your strategy? Do you use direct sales teams or indirect sales teams? But you've got to have a strategy for going after that business. And then how do you invest your marketing and acquisition dollars and retention dollars for keeping customers? Now, this is a very important point that I want to make. The smaller the organization, in the go to market strategy, do not use branding institutional marketing. Do not do mass market ads and things of this nature. It is a waste of money. It is a waste of resources, time, energy, effort, and you're not going to get the return on investment that you so desire. Just running blanket ads in the newspaper is also not going to, or the business journals or whatever, is not going to help you a whole lot either. If you're a small organization, you have to create your brand, particularly when you're a new brand. You have to create it and prove it in the marketplace. That means you're getting results for your customers where your customers begin to talk about you. And their word of mouth still is the best referral mechanism out there. And for a small company, here's the key. Write this down. Direct response marketing. You do not do branding and just talk about the name of your company and all that stuff and the history of your company and think that that's going to build customer loyalty. You need to use case studies show what kind of problems you solve, which allows the customer then or the prospect to then figure out that, hey, you know your stuff. You've done this before. This is somebody I want to talk to. And they will respond to you by either calling, setting up an appointment, or they will fill out a lead, what I call an opt-in form, where they want to get some additional information or watch a video on what you do, how you do it, maybe a demo, etc. And they're actively pursuing you, which is a much healthier uh, new opportunity factor for the small business than the large company. See, the larger corporations, they have big budgets. They can they can overwhelm the smaller companies with just blanket ads. They dominate even such a small market as or a small tactic as Facebook ads for consumers during the Christmas holidays and the Black Friday events and these sort of things. The big boys come in with their big budgets and they flood the market with ads and they drive up the bid prices on ads. And this is not a healthy situation for your small company because they actually price you out of the market. And your ad, if you're doing ads, which I highly recommend, you have to, as a little Cajun banker told me one time, he said, Voss, you got to prime the pump. And I understood that concept, meaning that you have to spend a little bit to get more. And that's the whole thing of marketing and investing in your future opportunities is to invest and get a return. Now your return needs to be higher. That's why I'm saying avoid branding concepts if you're a small company because it's really not helping you. Results is the only thing that will help you. And that you do that through direct response marketing. It is a element that has been a kind of a almost a secret in one sense, but it's not so secret for the highly successful companies. They are doing it with gusto. I just spent some time yesterday with a gentleman who is just unbelievable in his marketing efforts, and he's making offers like you would not believe how many offers he has outstanding that are driving direct response traffic to where he's getting opportunities left and right without having to do any hard sales, without pitching, doing anything of that nature. But people are just signing up for um, for his expertise because he solves the problems and he gives results, and that reputation has gotten out there, as well as the case studies that disclose that information. Plus, he uses a strategy called results in advance in his marketing efforts, where he actually shows people exactly how to do things, and that gains their trust even over something as low touch as the internet and videos and whatnot from the internet. So this is something that you need to pursue and review. Do not do branding, marketing, and advertising. It is a waste of time. The Yellow Pages is gone. That doesn't work except for maybe some local businesses that have a particular service that nobody else has, and you can be at the top of the list. So if somebody electronically goes on to find out who you are, they will find you. Now, see, there's the clue. They don't use the Yellow Pages books anymore, except maybe boomers and some older traditionalists who are still alive. They may use the Yellow Pages because that was their habit. But everybody else is going online to search and find where who does stuff. So therefore, you have to think about that from a standpoint of go-to-market strategies. Then how do I do that? How do I position myself? If you have a brick and mortar business, then you need to make sure that you're in um, Google Maps and Google local Google um, positioning so that people can find you and know exactly where you are. Have little maps to, if you're a brick and mortar walk-in establishment, have a map to your place so that people can find it, because that's how they're doing it online. So without beating that topic, this is a topic that we could probably spend an entire live video on, but I want to move on to the fifth one, which is lead generation and lead tracking. In most companies, lead generation and lead tracking is random at best, and yet it should be a process that is utilized, repeatable, and producing returns. I know one progressive company, actually several now, have taken on the attitude that the lead generation should be a marketing function versus a sales function. And the key here is qualified leads. So they actually have dedicated people to generating leads and qualifying the leads before they pass them on to the sales team. In other words, they know that that person is really, or company is really a serious prospect. I mean, somebody who is actually can be converted into a customer to buy your products or services. Too often a lead is just somebody who can fog a mirror, or they wanted something for free. Well, that's not exactly what I would call a hot lead. And you need to hone your skills on that. Even if you do internet opt-ins, you really need a way to segment. Now, this is a key thing. You cannot put everybody into one email grouping and do blanket broadcast emails to a large email list and expect to get results. Again, you need to target who's looking for what solutions, and that's a form of segmentation. So you segment your lead generation, and you put the people who want widget A in the widget A group, and you have widget Z in another group. All right, and all they hear about are case studies and explanations of how A works and Z works, but it's only to those people who are interested in those particular products and have expressed a desire. The worst thing you can do is to send information in blanket format, talking about anything and everything you offer. And I've seen some of the B2B distribution companies. I mean, they have catalogs that are this thick, and actually I've seen them as with catalogs this thick. Well, it's impossible for a customer to actually know exactly what you offer or what they could buy from you. But if you know that they want this little section of that big catalog, then you could focus on that. And then later, after they become a customer and they're purchasing, or in the sales process, you discover that they could take on B, D, and E product lines as well as A or Z, then that's a win-win. You win, and the customer wins, because they're getting exactly what they need, and they're not wasting time looking at things that are meaningless or of no interest to them. This is part of the marketing and qualification process. And in fact, these progressive companies actually challenge these lead generation people to create a return on investment, or they track their returns. So if they send off a qualified lead, then they're expecting a certain percentage of those leads to be converted by the sales team to bring dollars to the company or bring revenue. And it's that's an important part. It's accountability. They're holding the marketing department accountable, which is something that has not been done very often in the past. Marketing groups have just had budgets to spend money to attract customers, but they don't really know if they're attracting them or not, because they're primarily, in the past, they've used a lot of branding advertising versus direct response. And that is interesting, because the original ads were all based on direct response. We talked about problems. If you go back even to the 50s and 60s, you know, half a decade ago, or generation ago, excuse me, decade, half a generation. I'm really aging myself. Anyway, half a generation ago, you will find that uh, there was a lot more problems addressed in advertisements. They would talk about the problem, how to fix the problem, and that would drive interest. People could then contact, sign, make a phone call, etc. There was some kind of call to action, which has the alphabet soup of CTAs in the marketing world, and that's um, anyway, CTA action. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about today on this topic. Again, I could probably break some of these down and do entire live sessions on each of these individually, and that's something I may consider based upon your comments. Let me know below what you want to know more about, what has been of interest to you. I'm not asking you to opt in, sign in, or do anything of that nature. I'm just saying, leave me a comment. And if there's something else that you want to ask about, put it in the comments. But I really do need some comments so I'll know who's interested in what, so I can address your interest and needs and put them into future lives, because I am going to be doing lives every week, and my goal is approximately one a day, and if I can do that during the week, that's 5 per week that are directed to helping you understand the world of business. I'm leaving something behind, which was the original goal that I set out to do when I shot my first live video. It was all about leaving something behind. If you remember the story about the songwriter Sean Rowe, who had that titled song, and it just resonated with me, and it's something I want to do. And so this is Voss Graham, your organizational architect. I'm signing off for today's live session. If you need to get in touch with me, you can go to my personal website at vossgraham.com. That's pretty easy. And check me out. Find out what I do. There's a comment section in there, or a contact me way, or form in there that you can get in touch with me, and I will follow up with you. Anyway, you take care. Have a great week, and much success to you and your marketing efforts. Thank you.